The reason why I personally have a problem with brown or black people talking about unity amongst brown and black people is because it's literally impossible for a people, in this particular case, us, Mexican people, brown people, it is impossible for us to come together with black people because we are inherently and culturally racist. Our culture is very anti-black. And it's not our original and true culture. This is post-colonial culture. This is due to the Spaniard colonizers that implemented their caste system into our culture. And therefore, we have been seeing the world with the eyes of our colonizers. And meanwhile, we out here marching with signs that say brown and black unity. The truth is that in our household, we tell our sisters, we tell our daughters not to date y'all, to stay away from y'all. And if we find out, well, one of our aunties, one of our sisters, one of our daughters had a kid with one of you, we shame them. We even disown them. We want nothing to do with them. This is a very common thing to happen. So the reality is that we, as a people that have been anti-black for a couple of hundred years since colonialism, we can't possibly try to convince black people about brown and black unity. We can't. It's impossible because we're still very anti-black. How can we, as an anti-black people, convince you about brown and black unity when if you really think about it, it's just the truth and it's clear as day. How can we try to convince you about brown and black unity when the reality is just a surface? It's a surface thing. Meaning, can we convince you to join us in helping us systemically somehow? That's what brown and black unity has always meant between us. As long as we do not confront the anti-blackness in our Mexican culture, we will never be able to have any sort of coalition. Not a true one. It's always going to be surfacey, and it's always going to be about using one another. As long as there is internalized racism, colorism comes into play, and anti-blackness comes into play. And ironically, I do these videos and I always talk and address the anti-blackness in our culture. And most of the people that have a problem with the things that I talk about regarding the subject matter are Mexican people. Bro, why are you making us look bad? You see, I'm making us look bad because I'm forcing us to confront the anti-blackness. But then you are a hypocrite going out there and trying to convince black people about coming together with us. You cannot come together with the people that you are anti. You can't. And I actually had a guest come up here one time and started crying here. It was a black dude. He had a child with a Salvadorian woman. He came up here and said, "Hey, Ricardo, I had a child with a Salvadorian." And I'm trying to figure out, like, no matter how nice I am, no matter how respectful, like, I'm always trying to be, like, very offering to the family. They just don't like me. Like, you as a Latino, what do you think I'm doing wrong? And what can I do to fix this? And I said, you could do nothing. What are you doing wrong? You're black.
I'm going to stop it right there. Perfect place to stop. Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. And we're here breaking down the video from the Ricardo Ignacio YouTube channel. And the brother is also on TikTok. The video is originally on TikTok, on Ricardo Ignacio on TikTok, then his YouTube channel. But his channel is filled with a lot of conversations that he have with various people about issues around race and racism that affect both the black and brown community. And in my opinion, he has a lot of good and healthy conversations with a lot of his guests. I think he has a good grasp on what's going on. I'm not sure about a lot of the guests, but this particular conversation stood out to me because the Mexican guy is schooling the black guy on why the black and brown unity, as he said, is impossible. And I'm glad that he's phrasing things the way he is, because we have a lot of people in our community who push, especially the United 2%ers, who push for this unity, this black and brown unity, or this coalition, especially the BIPOC coalition people, right? They push for this idea of unity, or they push for this unity that we should have, and we should unite because we're all people who have experienced hardship and racism and colonialism, and we've all been oppressed. And so we should unite because we're all oppressed people. but we're not dealing with, well, why the hell haven't we all united already? What has been keeping us back, right? But then this year, and even in past years, but even more this year, we're starting to see, especially with the immigration thing, how the truth about the black and brown unity is coming about. As Ricardo said, it's not real. It's not real. You may be a black person who have grown up in an environment where you had a healthy Hispanic population and you got along with them and they got along with you, but they don't represent the whole of the community. And as he's talking about the inherent racism or the culture of racism that exists within these brown communities that isn't addressed within the community, that holds back true unity. Love, children, and family aren't cures to racism, because if they were, it'll be over by now, right? But we all know those different things, ideas of love, or the emotions of love, having children with somebody of another race, or even marrying into the family. Just giving an example about somebody having a baby with an El Salvadorian, a black guy having a baby with an El Salvadorian, and they don't want no black people in their family. Like, we know that this is something that is said within the Hispanic and Latino communities. They not black and they don't want no blackness. They don't want to darken up the lineage and stuff. And these are the people. And I'm glad he's hitting the angle that he's hitting, because this is what we want to unite with. And it just leads me back to black people. We just don't damn get it. And we're always trying to be friends with people who haven't showed us en masse that they can actually be our friends. So Pat, you had a head twist at a moment when the brother Ricardo was talking. Tell us what that's about, but also, man, what do you think about this conversation so far?
No, I like the conversation. And I was thinking about it from the standpoint of some people that I know very closely are they are a combination of the black and brown combination, coalition, if you will. You know, they got some Hispanic in them, but they're also they're black. And just seeing the way things play out in their family, where the ones that look more Hispanic and that speak Spanish have a chip on their shoulder towards the ones that look black, and especially the ones that look black and don't speak Spanish. So I thought that was interesting. Now, what I did also think was interesting was what the head tilt was sounded like a little bit of cope. And then I realized, all right, maybe he knows something I don't know. With the whole, this is not our original culture. This is what came in with colonialism. And, you know, the Spaniards and all of that. And for me, it was like, okay, so from what I know, and I could be wrong, both of y'all correct me if I'm wrong, you exist because of the Spaniards. Like, it's not like you was there doing your thing and then the Spaniards showed up and gave you a different culture. No, you didn't exist until they showed up.
You mean like Mexican culture?
I mean, like, because he spoke specifically to the Spaniards.
Right.
So I'm thinking he's talking about Hispanic culture in general. Well, so I'm making the distinction between Native Americans
and Hispanic. Yeah,
and Hispanics.
Yeah, so a little context on him. He does get the bull that comes with Latino Hispanic culture. He understands that it's something that was fabricated in the 70s and stuff like that, because I've heard him speak on it. But he's more so talking about the Mexican people who were in the Mexican area when the Spaniards showed up.
So he's talking about the indigenous people.
Yes,
so
the indigenous people in Mexico.
Okay. So I can vibe with that.
Mm-hmm.
To a point. Because to my knowledge, again, both of y'all correct me if I'm wrong, to my knowledge, and we're not talking to those, look, for all you black folk that say that we was black folk was here, yeah, I disagree with you. All right, we got that out the way. So, to my knowledge, Native Americans didn't really rock with black people like that either.
So going back to what Dr. Clark said, and what Dr. Clark said is true, right? That all groups of people, especially post-colonialism, but all groups of people were not necessary. They didn't do black people well. So now that the specific Mystican culture and their interactions with blacks, I'm not that sure. And I'm talking pre-colonialism. I'm not sure. So I can't really speak on that. And PC may have some information, but I can't really speak on the interactions between like African people and the Mystican cultures outside of what we know about with the Olmecs.
Well, and I'll just say that was the head tilt, because I was like, and then I caught myself and was like, you know what? There's still a lot about Native American culture, indigenous culture that I'm not familiar with. So maybe he knows something I don't. But I am pretty familiar with black people, and I'm pretty familiar with the way black people in America were treated by everybody in America, including the natives and the indigenous people.
Right.
And black people have been looked down on by everybody in America, including the indigenous people. And so that's why I was like, that sounded like a bit of cope with him saying, you know, we know the Spaniards brought this over and they gave this to us. Maybe it was already there. Maybe they enhanced.
Well, tribalism
was already there.
Tribalism was definitely there before.
Right. And so now you see, and that was the other point I was going to transition to, because I'm thinking about it from a tribalism type lens. I don't expect everybody back in those times to be all lovey-dovey. Like that's something that for the most part was unique to a specific group of people that aren't around anymore. And they aren't around anymore because they got jacked up by being that way.
They were too nice.
So that's why I was thinking.
I get you. But I guess if you want to be technical, Theodore, and that was because we know African people, even black people, slaves had negative interactions or even enslaved by Native Americans. Now, I guess the technical Theodore comes in. Did the Mystican people specifically engage in that behavior as well? And I don't know.
And to that is one of those things where, okay, we're speaking in generalities because we have to, because he's making a general argument. Right. Hispanics, the Brown coalition.
When we're talking about the larger group. Yeah.
So in that argument, in the context of that argument, and so that's where it's like, this is why these conversations break down, is because even when you have a well-intentioned person like this young man is, I really do think he's well-intentioned, there's still that refusal to fully accept what's going on, because you can pass it off to the left. Oh, well, we know the Spaniards came in and gave us this. Now, we took it and run with it, but it's not native to me. That gives you an out. That's a whole different argument from saying, no, this is native to you. This is who you are. This is what you do. And the work that you're going to have to do to get out of that space is different. But on the whole, that, like I said, that was the head tilt. On the whole, I think the conversation is a beautiful conversation that I wish more black people would pay attention to, because the BS lie that we tell ourselves, our own cope, that, you know, there's some way that we can work together with all these other people, because we really don't want to be, we're children. We don't want to be out here by ourselves. We don't believe we can do it by ourselves.
Right.
So, but with that, I'm gonna land my plane and let PC
But no, I mean, so because I got to bring you in properly, but that's why we break these things down, though, because getting into the nitty gritty and really peeling back some of the layers and what's going on, because like you're talking about tribal, we've said this, the three of us have talked about this so many times. tribalism is something that's inherent to human beings. If you not one of us, we fighting. That's inherent to human beings, right? So pre-colonial tribalism did exist throughout the world, even in the African continent. All right, African people are no exception, right? Because the tribalism was played upon. But also, two things are true. The pre-colonial tribalism existed, and then the post-colonial racism and racist ideologies that they have toward other people attached on to what was already going on with the pre-colonial tribalism that humans had. So, hey man, before we go any further, make sure y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Make sure you get as many people as possible into these conversations, into these breakdowns, so they can listen to what we got going on. And people in the comments, I'm listening to the comments. I'm trying to get to as many as possible, but I do believe I am shadow banned. So if you listen to this, please hit that like button. Please share. Please make sure your notifications are turned on, because a lot of people are telling me that they're not getting their notifications. So two things they've been telling me: YouTube been tripping and Cashapp been tripping. So I'm calling you out, YouTube, and I'm calling you out, Cashapp, because you ain't finna keep me from my people. But for the YouTube, if you're not getting the notifications, please let me know, because I want to make sure y'all can get this content, because I've been noticing a little shadow banning stuff going on. So, but without further ado, we finna get into this like we do. Y'all get y'all bowls, put your bib around your neck, make sure you got your forks and your spoons together, and you better get your drink and you better get your biscuit, because Professor Carlton Jones is about to cook. Yeah.
Well, Ian, I appreciate that. Hope I can live up to it. But before we get into that, I do want to thank early on, because typically we do this at the end of the show, but there are people who are cash apping us, and we appreciate you, looking out for your brothers. So shout out to Miss Cheryl Tate for showing some love. Appreciate you, sister, and we appreciate you all. My sister McKim as well. Our sister McKim, friend of the show. We appreciate all y'all contributions and assistance to the work we're doing. More so than the money, is the appreciation for the acknowledgement that we're doing something that matters. So we thank you, and we thank everybody that tune in every week. That just your likes, your views, it helps to, as Joe said earlier, to spread the podcast, or spread the channel, and so more people can have access to this wonderful thing that my good brother's putting together here. So, and also, I want to send prayers and well wishes to the family and friends of former television star Danielle Spencer. She recently passed away at the age of 60. I believe she was dealing with the reports are that she was dealing with cancer. And for those of you who don't know who Danielle Spencer is, I could be aging myself, but she was the child star on the television show What's Happening, and also the remake, not the remake, but the spinoff that later on that occurred about a decade later ago, What's Happening Now. And she was her name, she was D on the show. So just keep the people in thoughts and prayers. She was somebody who had an impact on the culture and the community, and we just we want to send our condolences to her family and well wishes. So with that being said, and in regards to what the young man was talking about, it's all I've ever known to be true. If you look at the rebellions and the revolutions that took place in places like Puerto Rico, Cuba, and even the Mexican Civil War, Cinco de Mayo, all those things were attached to that whole concept of the racial disparities that took place. If you were a darker complexion or darker hue, you were seen as in a lower caste. They had caste systems, so you were seen as a lower class of people, and you had less access to the wealth, less access to power, less access to the resources. And so that's why when, him bringing this up, this is not new news to those of us who have studied.
Right.
This whole concept because we get lost, and I think we as Black people want to extend a little bit too much respect to other cultures, so we don't call things what they are. But to be a Latino is not a race. Latinos is a culture, it's a language driven culture. Ethnicity is not a race.
Right.
In the Latino culture, there are these disparities. And there are parts of Mexico that are totally Black, that nobody associates with, affiliates with, specifically on the western coast of Mexico. So you go down to South America, and the distinctions are even there. I mean, Brazil had a larger African population than America. Over 100 million Brazilians were of African descent. They consider themselves to be Afro-Latinos. And that's the distinction. You have to identify as Afro-Latino.
Right.
And if you look at how anybody's classified, even in America, and when they ask you about if you're Latino, they ask you if you're white Latino or other for the distinction. So that's no secret in terms of what he's talking about. The issue, and I'm not sure, is this a conversation or is this a reaction?
No, this is the conversation. The Black guy is in the conversation, but Ricardo is the one who's talking mostly.
Okay, like the brothers in bed. Anyway,
I know,
because he is
wild turkey. Anyway, so, but I mean, if we talk about in that, like Pat said earlier, let's call a thing, right? The Latino culture was birthed from the colonization of the Spaniards.
Yes.
Of the Portuguese.
Get into it,
You know what I'm saying? Like this your culture is, you don't have prior culture to that. And you can claim, mestizo, you can claim Aztec, you can claim Mayan, you can claim all those things. Okay, that's cool. I respect that, because that is that's the mother who was raped. That's the mother who was sexually assaulted. You are the bastard child of those cultures. But the dominant culture is the one with the language you speak. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think, Joe, you pointed out something, and you point out something where we do have pockets. Like, I have pockets of people who I'm connected with, who I have close affiliations with, some friendships with, who are not Black. They may be white, they may be Latino, and so forth. But we're not talking about our individual relationships. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the conversation, because people are too used to alienating a whole group when it's beneficial, and then separating themselves and talk about individual experiences when it becomes more convenient. So collectively speaking, we can talk about nationalism. As a nationalist, as a Black nationalist, I don't have to hate anybody that's not Black in order to be a Black nationalist, and so forth. And I'm just putting that in there to the conversation, so because of the relevance to what this young man is talking about. What his nationalism is Mexican. That's his national. That he's a Mexican nationalist. That's okay. So what he's describing does not go past the becoming a Mexican. Like, I don't even know if Mexico was the actual. When we go back in time, was Mexico the actual name?
No. It was another. I know the word. From my understanding, the word Mexico comes from a distortion of mestizo.
Right. So, and it's kind of similar to like when Africa, all the different nations of Africa, they got names now that they didn't have 200 years ago. It's what happens when you're colonized. So the colonized version of you is the culture. And so,
What?
good.
No, yes, but I'm glad you said that because it's the same as us.
Yeah.
It's the same because we don't realize, man, I was just telling my girl this. We don't realize the level of colonization. I don't think black people in America, matter of fact, I don't think black people throughout the diaspora really understand how everybody else was colonized. And I think specifically for black people in America, because we have this specific white American / British colonization / chattel slavery history here, we don't understand that just because other groups didn't experience chattel slavery, that they were not colonized to the 5th degree. Like their minds were not totally scrambled up the same way ours is. Like the inherent inferiority, the inherent racism that we've all inherited, it's throughout the diaspora. Everybody who was colonized, everybody who was dominated by Europeans, we all have our brains mixed up in the blender. All of us.
Well, I mean, you know, you go to over in Nigeria and Ghana, don't they still have parliament with powdered wigs on?
Yes,
you know?
They still are named Nigeria.
Right. So, you know, and that's not to take the conversation away from this, but that's just it's relevant.
Colonization.
The colonization took place everywhere, and this is why we talk about the power of white supremacy, which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But even this conversation is talking about a situation where they drew the picture and we're just coloring within the lines.
Mm-hmm.
But the conversation itself wouldn't have relevance if it wasn't for the distinctions that they created through their system. This is what's another aspect of systemic racism, boys and girls. So what he's saying is absolutely factual in terms of the disdain that specific and depending on which Latin communities you talk about, the disdain is even stronger for the darker complected, darker skinned, African touched versions of who they are. You go to Venezuela, they've had like a African genocide where they have totally bleached blonde their population. And you know, if you know about Operation Paperclip, you know why. But the notion, I mean, no, not Venezuela, Argentina. I'm sorry, Argentina. But so when he's saying this is really for black people.
Yes.
Black people.
That's the sad part.
You Negroes, are you hearing what he's saying to you? Because, and I think Pat was talking about it. We always want to assume we can just walk up to somebody and say, you're my friend.
Right.
You're my ally. You know, and then we sort of force ourselves into conversations or force ourselves into relationships for where we're not really past what we can be, however resourceful we can be. We're not really relevant to that power dynamic. We're not really relevant to that. And because I thought about this when I saw when they were trying to stop that pipeline from going through North Dakota, and you saw the natives out there saying, "Black people, why don't you help?"
Yep.
And then you saw black people out there,
you
know, getting fire hosed in sub-zero weather.
Yep.
You know, for a cause that's not theirs.
We're gonna show up.
Yeah, we so interject yourself, but there's no, you can't have a coalition. The Mexican, the Latinos of Mexican descent that was sort of in charge of some municipalities out in California have been consistently caught on tape saying things and recordings that talking about how to remove blacks from receiving resources and allocating resources other places to make sure that blacks didn't get access to the resources out of there. I remember, it's funny, 2022, when I was prior to working at the college, I was doing some work. A friend of mine had a program. Shout out to the University of Rap. A good brother Oba Lloyd. He asked me to be a history teacher, fill in. So I taught history in these classes for middle school, Universal Charter Middle School out in South Philly. And it had there was one sixth grader there. This girl, she was Mexican young lady, right? And so I'm talking about the history. I'm talking about we're probably in like the fourth or fifth week, so we've already covered the story of Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Harriet Tubman, and then I think we might have been covering the Birmingham bombings that took place, 4 little girls, and the 19th Street Church in Birmingham. So the little girl raised her hand and she said, I was home and then and I always have a question, like, why is the blacks always complaining? Mm-hmm. And I can't say I was astonished by it, because I kind of knew where the question was going, because I could see the look on her face throughout the entire class. But this is what I'm talking about, how ingrained it is with the culture. She's too young to truly understand why she should be bothered by black people talking about things that have historically been historical wrongs that have happened to us. So culturally speaking, this is what's been implanted in her at home.
Man, you all in my mind. Yes, this is their culture that they passed down. How you call it, anti-black culture.
Yeah,
it's passed down. The darker you are, like you said earlier, the darker you are, the worse you are. The lighter you are, the better you are. The more you assimilate to mother Spanish culture, the better you are. And black people want to unite with that.
Think about all the cultures that came like during this past years, when you had the migrant crisis that happened in this country, and all the people that came over here from the Central America and all the different gangs or countries, whatever. You didn't really hear a lot in terms of the complaints. They were like the complaints in terms of Latino gangs like MS-13 taking over whole apartment developments and things of that nature. That was downplayed by the media in cities in Colorado and all over the country, right? And it wasn't an issue until the Haitians were brought here to America. And then all of a sudden they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. That's what I'm talking about in terms of like, so what he's speaking to, actually, we're seeing it in real time. And you notice that the people that come to America, typically of Latin descent from those countries that are invading the country, they're not dark skinned. They're not the darker hued.
They're not. They're not. We don't. That's a great point. Great point. We do not see the darker, an abundance of the darker skin Hispanics or Latinos immigrating to America. We don't.
They don't make it past those camps, those encampments. They don't make it past the encampments. They don't get into the country.
Great point.
They get held at the border. Hey
man. Y'all. We over here. I told you he was gonna cook, man. So make sure y'all hit that like button, because he cooking. But so let's let the conversation go a little bit more.
Hey, before we do that, hold on.
These are a people.
Joe, I'm gonna call you out. You've been watching too much TikTok. Don't you put another chip in your mouth.
You was eating too?
I was drinking.
You was eating. You be eating apples and stuff.
And I be on mute.
Okay. I was on mute the first time.
No, you was.
The first time I would, but after that, I got confident.
We heard you crunching and smacking and all. Don't you be like them women on TikTok that be pissing me off.
I'm hungry. All right. Let's go.
That have been culturally anti-black, you can do nothing. What is the mistake that you made? It's simple. You had a child and didn't go out of your way to find out what kind of people, what kind of family are you getting involved in. You had a child before you found out what you're getting yourself into. As a matter of fact, I had a friend that I was hanging out with. I was friends with this individual for over 10 years. And where he lived, there was all kinds of people that live in that neighborhood. white tea, brown people. But then across the street from him, those people that lived there, they left, and then a black family moved in there. And when I pulled up to come hang out, he started expressing the frustration. And I said, "What's up? What's up, man?" He's like, "Man, those N-words over there just moved in." And I said to myself, "You got all these white tea people, and you're okay with it. You're perfectly fine with these people living here. But as soon as a black person moves in across the street, now you're all stressed out." And I was telling my friend, because the friend of mine that I was talking to, I asked her certain questions, and she said that she has a Venezuelan friend that expresses anti-blackness. And I said, I would have been walked away from that friendship a long time ago. And she says, "Oh, but I know him for such a long time." And that's when I shared with her this. I was like, you know what? I've known this guy for over 10 years. When he expressed that, I started distancing myself like that. I don't care how long I know you. If you are anti-black, dude, I don't need to be around you. I've experienced a couple of these sort of things from some of my Mexican or Chicano friends. And another experience that I had is that I had a friend who had 3 sisters, and his 3 sisters all had kids, ironically, with white tea people and with other Mexican people. No problem. But as soon as one of his sisters that already had 2 kids with a white tea guy, as soon as she got pregnant by a black dude, this is what he expressed. He said, "Man, I'm pissed." And I'm like, "Why? What's up?" "My sister just got pregnant." And I'm like, "Whoa, so what? They already got kids. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Bro, she got pregnant by an N-word, bro." And I'm like, "Okay." He said exactly these words, word for word. "I don't want to have black nephews and nieces, bro." Like that, straight up. And I was like, "You're okay with having white tea nieces and nephews, but the idea of black nieces and nephews, that just terrifies you. I don't care how long I've known you. If you express something like that, I'm going to distance myself."
Yeah, let me ask you that. You know what worse than racism?
What's up?
Self-hate.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree. 100%.
So at the same time, even when I, like I said, meet black people, they love to say the N-word. I'm like, dude, you need, no, man, we took the word, it made it powerful. It's an acronym. Dude, I remember reading that in Vibe magazine in the 90s. That's not true. I
Yeah.
said, you really think when you let a Mexican or a white person use the N-word, they say it out of love? Do you
Not
really
at all.
think they go home, oh, no, he's cool? Yeah. They make a caricature in their own minds about you.
So, Joe.
That's why I let it play into it, because I knew it was gonna upset you.
I can't. The man is sitting here having a conversation about his culture. The man is sitting here talking about specifically why white and black, like while the black and brown coalition can't work because of the racism that takes place in the Latin community. I hate that black people feel as though they need to come in and throw other black people under the bus just to engage in this conversation. You don't need to say a damn thing. In fact, we'd have been better off just listening to my man talk than you interjecting. And I could have told, I should have known, because the brother ain't got no mustache. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Hell nah.
I should have known this was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, listen, and when we in a room full of black folk, let's have the N-word conversation. That's the internal conversation. What you do is legitimize all the hatred towards us by saying, see, they do it too. And so this is, and like we were having a conversation earlier, not going to say no names, but we was just talking about how certain black folk just always got to mess up the public image of black people. This is one of those things where you don't have to say, brother, can I appeal to you, brother? First of all, let your facial hair grow and look your age. Second of all, shut the up.
Well, so when he started off by saying, what's worse than racism? Self-hatred.
And then
Well,
he
my
just provided an example of it.
Well, my brother, do you not understand that the self-hatred that you're speaking of is a direct outcome of racism? So the self-hatred exists because of racism. Black people call themselves the N-word because it was embedded in us because of racism, white supremacy. It's not like black people just woke up one day and decided that we're gonna call ourselves the N-word. It's what the white people embedded into our psyche. Matter of fact, it was the programming that white people gave us. So yes, we specifically Black Americans use that N-word because of the conditioning. And yes, we do have self-hate because we've been conditioned because of racism. Self-hate ain't worse than racism. Self-hate is an outcome of racism.
Well, that was going to be my point. Like, first, I disagree with your assertion, sir.
Yeah.
I think your premise is flawed.
Yeah.
I don't think that self-hate is worse than racism. But I also noticed the differences in languages being used because the Mexican guy is not using racism. He's using anti-blackness. Now you can interpret that a few different ways. One, you could interpret that as saying he wants to speak specifically to anti-blackness within his community and he doesn't want it to be confused with anything else.
He's being specific.
Or you could interpret that as he's afraid to call it what it is because racism is an ugly word. You could actually interpret it both ways. And there are a number of other ways you could interpret it.
Right.
But I find it interesting that, and I don't, again, the only thing I laugh about is that I always find it funny when younger people, like when I was growing up, slang was intended to shorten things. You ain't want to have to say all the syllables. And now they say extra syllables. Like YT is more syllables than white.
So
white.
Help me understand, because his videos are originally on TikTok. Can you not say white on TikTok? Can you not say white people on TikTok?
I hear them saying it out in the street where they can't get demonetized. So I'm taking it from that angle.
Well, because I hear people say the N-word and then come back and say YT people. So I'm confused. So we can say the N-word, but we can't say what. But that's another thing to me as well is another example of how dominant white supremacy is and how pervasive it is, because it's to the point to where we don't want to call it what it is. You because these the same people who like these people.
Yeah,
the palm of the hand people. So like white people, say white people, say it.
And so again, I go back to like, I think it's a beautiful conversation, and Buddy is trying to have a genuine conversation, but he's also still dealing with internal struggles. So, he don't want to have the difficult. Now, as far as the black dude goes, I agree with PC. We was bad. He was like we don't need him. Yeah, that was. Like you didn't add anything to the conversation with that. And I'm not gonna bag on you, but I am.
You can't unsee it.
Why are you in bed?
But the brother is so like the brother is the one who would represent the black person who is like, we need a black and brown unity. We need a black and brown coalition. And Ricardo is like, we don't want to, like, I might do it with you, but the rest of my folk, they don't, because they don't like you. And like, yeah, and we don't like each other either. Yeah. Because that's where the conversation went from anti-black, from the Hispanics to the blacks to like the black. Yeah, we don't like ourselves either. We don't like ourselves either.
I kind of, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there.
Go ahead.
I kind of like the fact that he didn't use the word racism, that he did talk about anti-blackness, because the word racism has been watered down so much that the original terminology and the definition of it does not, if you look at the definition today and compare it to 30 years ago, the definition done changed. So now anybody can practice racism. Back in the day, there was only one group that can practice racism. Right. Because you had to have race, discrimination, and power. the ability to do all that stuff. So now when there's anybody that feels a certain way against a certain people, or anybody that uses discrimination based on color, that can be anybody. So I'm kind of glad he didn't use the term racist. Now the whole white tee thing, I couldn't figure that out to save my life.
We old.
I thought it was just I thought it was might have been like a cultural thing. Like that's how they talk about white.
That's how people talking on social media.
It is a cultural thing, but it's more about youth than about peace and anything else. Like it's a young people thing, and to me, it don't make the white tee thing. Not the idea. Like again, I'm not trying. I want to be clear. I'm not trying to say anti-blackness versus racism one way or the other. I didn't get the way I feel about it. I was just talking about, like, I did notice there was a shift in the conversation and the way they're talking.
Right. But I believe Ricardo was using anti-black specifically. To be specific about what's happening within especially Mexican culture that he's more familiar with. Like there's pervasive anti-blackness. My people don't mess with y'all like that. And you go to black dude, and we use the N-word.
But I think too, what I'm really paying attention to is usually when you notice a culture, a language shift of that magnitude, people are getting ready to have two different conversations.
Yeah,
they still talking to each other, but they having two vastly different conversations,
and that's what's happening. So let's let the brother finish.
Oh, look at me!
I don't need for you to say that around them either. Why is not? Because they not gonna get the connection, bro.
Yeah,
I said just keep it to yourself and just channel it.
You know what I find very hypocritical from Latinos? Very hypocritical. Me as a Mexican, when I see a lot of Mexicans, especially out here in NorCal where I'm at, a lot of Mexicans, you know, the way they talk, the way they converse and interact with their friends. Oh, what's up, my N-word? What's up, my N-word? Oh, what's up, my N-word? God damn, my sister just got pregnant by a black dude. It's like, how are you so comfortable?
No, if they want to be niggas, they can be niggas now. Now we are not, trust me. When I tell you, my brother Ricardo, black people are black people are not fighting for that word. Now, N-words are the deviants. The deviants are fighting for that word, but
we
black
don't
people
have a monopoly on nigga.
Never did.
So if your brethren want to call themselves the N-word, trust me, they can be the number one N-words. Trust me.
Well, but here's the thing, right? And it's not even that I disagree with you, but what I think is happening now is something real interesting. The Hispanic dude, in an effort to get back on the same page with the black dude, it's now like, I'm going to shit on my people too.
Well, he's kind of the guy that's been pulling the curtain back on his culture anyway, because that's how he started off. We're like, you know, they were like, well, you making us look bad. When he said that in the beginning, so. But
I think to the other dude though, it's really a shallow and superficial argument, and this goes back to people. I don't know the black dude. He might be some world-renowned whatever. But from the last 30 seconds of listening to what he said, to me, it sounds like he's not equipped to be in this conversation.
Right.
I was literally going to say that, and too many times people they're excited about being on the stage, but they don't have the ability to keep up. And I don't think he could relate to what this, young man was saying in terms of the cultural rift that's taking place in his own culture.
He's not wrapping his mind around it. That's why he went to talking about the N-word in his own culture, because he's not paying attention.
And he's unqualified so far.
That too.
But listening to and we've seen this before. There are some people that just want to get out there and immerse themselves. I don't know how long he's been waiting to get on this young man's show to have this conversation, to get picked or chosen to be in this.
PC, don't do that. You didn't call that man to pick me. Don't do that.
Oh, wow.
Y'all, you and Joe are on one today. Y'all are wild.
Yeah, I mean,
What is happening?
we're just telling the truth, man. That's it. We're just telling the truth, my brother.
I mean, but look at the stain in his face right now, and the stain ain't towards. It's not like in agreement with the Mexican guys saying. The stain is still on black folk.
We say the N word and we shouldn't be saying it. Like, we know we shouldn't be saying it, but there's a reason why we say it.
Well, and even to that, I'm going to disagree with him. Now, do I agree black folks shouldn't be saying that? I don't even like calling it the N word, if I'm being honest, but I know this is YouTube.
Negrodamus.
So, should black people be saying ninja? If we taking it in historical context, no. But is there some truth to the fact that black people have reclaimed the word, and internally the word means something else? As much as I hate to admit it, yes, there is some truth to that. Mm-hmm. There is some truth to that. And black folk are allowed to redefine words that are negative towards us to be utilized. Now, do I agree with it? No. Do I want anybody calling me that and love or hate? No, I do not.
Hey, how much y'all bet? How much y'all want to bet? If the black dude get mad, he calls somebody.
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee it.
He's gonna mean it too, though.
Yeah, strongly.
Oh man,
strongly.
All right, let them
so
go.
I just think that's always if we're having a conversation internally, I don't mind that argument. But when we're having that conversation with other people, that's not a good, like, shut up. That's not a good argument.
Yeah,
don't bring that up.
We're gatekeeping that one, fam.
Oh,
we need to gatekeep that one.
Yeah.
Using a Black American lingo and claim that, oh, I don't use it as a racist word, bro. It's about camaraderie. How you have camaraderie with a black piece of lingo when you're anti-black?
And on top of that, it's a radio station out there.
Hey Joe, can you run that back?
DJ
we heard what he said.
Nah, go back,
bro. It's about camaraderie. How you have camaraderie with a black piece of lingo when you're anti-black?
Is that Hispanic? Is that Spanish?
Oh shit!
I gotta have one. Y'all can't have all. I to make them hate me too.
On top of that, it's a radio station out there. Every DJ is Hispanic, but they play soulful 70s and 80s and 90s music. 95% of music you're gonna play is black.
Yeah.
So then you got the ones coming inside of stadiums and also in everyday life got a black jersey on with a black person on.
I was just about to say something. Go ahead, come on.
Then it's like, wait a minute, but you hate me? How you got a person with, Jerry Rice, Bo Jackson? Mm-hmm. I can't live next to you. Mm-hmm. I said, but at the same time, they don't get the connection. That's mentally crazy. Mm-hmm. So stay over there, dude. I don't need for you to love me. I don't like falsified love.
Wait, I'm not co-signing that either.
He's mentally crazy, not them. He is.
Well, I understand black people love black music. We should. It's black music. But we not finna sit here and act like it ain't Hispanics out here doing billions of views on YouTube with their music.
Man, here's another. Well, there is. They are definitely doing that because, like a lot of if you guys go to the YouTube joint and with all the free downloads, and a lot of that Spanish music.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, no, like this is another one of those. And since we black people having a black conversation, stop making this comparison to other groups, especially when you don't know what they listen to.
What
being somebody that not grew up, but that spent a considerable amount of time in that culture, do they know a couple of the black hits? Yes. But they vibe out to their music.
Bruh, I live literally 5 blocks away from Hunting Park. Anybody knows that Hunting Park is in North Philly. You go to Hunting Park, after 5 o'clock every day. You literally have to roll your windows up if you're driving past on Roosevelt Boulevard, if you're riding through the park, because they be out there. The speakers on the top of the roof of the cars, they be out there playing their own damn music. I don't. What do you? So
what? Here's another. Once again, like you're saying, he's proven why he's not qualified for this conversation. Why he's not ready for it. Because for one, he thinks that if you are going to wear my cultural expressions, talk the way we talk, walk the way we walk, if you're going to take our culture, if you're going to borrow our culture, you have to like us. And no, these people are saying, well, no, we can take your culture because we can take your culture.
First of all, we didn't keep the culture.
We can take your culture because we can take your culture and we can wear your culture as a costume because we can.
But here, when I'm looking at, when I hear him say that, it's the same tired as pseudo cultural appropriation argument people start making. And if you don't like my culture, you shouldn't be enjoying any of the talents that my culture produces.
Stop me.
But what it really speaks to is he's still trying. It's like the same conversation black folk have with white folk who want to be perpetual victims. It's the whole notion of, let me appeal to your better nature. Maybe I can convince you that we should be allies. We should be friends. It's like that coin that was released at the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, when it had the black man on his knees begging, praying, talking about, "Am I not a brother?" You know, this is similar. That this lingo takes me back to those Sambo days of Sambo culture, where black folk are trying to appeal to other people that, you know, we should be loved and cherished by you, and instead of. And I don't know what he does outside of this, so I'm not going to assume that he doesn't. But from the looks of things, that's a weak ass argument, and it's not a masculine way of addressing this conversation, addressing this issue and topic. And we keep going into that, and I even listen to the nasal way he's talking, so I'm already prejudging that. On top of some other things I've already mentioned.
Mustache.
The mustache thing is messing me up. The more I look at
mustache having with whiskers like a rat compared to beans you whack.
He ain't even no whiskers. This dude had his face waxed.
That's funny.
So it's just a weak ass argument. It's a weak ass way to try to forge allegiances and alliances based on superficial things.
Once again,
entertainment and athletes. Those people, if you watched Do the Right Thing when they were in the pizza restaurant, and you know Spike Lee's character Mookie was saying to the Italian dude, "Well, how do you like Magic Johnson but you hate N-words? You hate ninjas?" He was like, "Well, I don't see Magic Johnson as an N-word." You know what I'm saying? It's like honorary whiteness in that regard. In other words, this
he different from y'all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why the black guy, it's like it's he doesn't get it. Like culture is something, like you said earlier, culture is something that should be protected. Culture should be insulated. Culture should be guarded. The fact that everybody on the planet has so much access to our culture is the reason why they can like our cultural expressions and not like the people. You can like the culture and not like the people. Just like you just said, yeah, I like the way Magic Johnson do it, but Magic Johnson different because you're a ninja, but Magic Johnson not. Look at his life and look at your life.
And if we go back to the N-word, the ninja whole part, and I know I say the word, I say nigga on here a lot, so I ain't gonna be hypocritical now, but I'm for the sake of this argument, I'm going to ninja and N-word. So the whole thing is How many times did you see black people inviting other people to say the damn word? Like, if I'm out in public and I'm arguing with somebody and they're not black, but I'm calling them niggas all day, you giving invitations for people to you inviting it. When you tell people it's okay for them to say it, you know, and I've been places where I've seen that too. Where you one of us, you know, you can say it, you one of us, you know. Now that is caught on like wildfire, you know, you picked the wrong time and place. You need to get in the hot tub time machine and go back and restructure that.
but like we've said in past shows, when black people get around other people, black people tend to not tell the truth and tend to try to blend in and make sure our conversation don't make other people uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, and just to come to the barbecue.
Yeah, and that's what I was just finna say, you know, and that's why it's gonna be more not black people at the barbecue than black people. But what's funny too is I do think, well, I know the government knows this because I've read the reports where they said if you want to get accurate information from black people, send a black person because they're not gonna be honest with other people.
Yep.
But yet and still we keep getting into these conversations and letting the disingenuousness poke through. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's not enough that people are having these conversations that aren't equipped to have these conversations. But even those people that are equipped to have these conversations, they're not bold enough to have a genuine conversation. They're not honest enough to have a real conversation that needs to be had. It would have been a great learning experience if a black person was having this conversation with this young dude and just asked him, hey, I noticed you saying anti-black a lot instead of racism. Why are you doing that? Mm-hmm. And give a young dude a chance to clarify and to educate. Because it sounds like the young dude really can't educate.
He's pretty good. I ain't gonna front. Like, I've been checking out his channel. I like what he be talking about.
So why you ain't give us a better conversation? Why you give us this one?
Nah, we had to do this one. This one was good for what we talking about.
Because I'm starting to feel a little bad because we all we doing is boo-booing on the black guy. Like maybe he wanted a brother Sean. I'm gonna just tell myself that in my mind.
He got other conversations, but this one was perfect for us.
The brother Sean.
Hey, maybe he wanted a brother Sean.
Oh God.
You know. Well, let's let it play a little more, then we wrap this thing up.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It's not love. If you really think about it, it's mockery. How do you wear a jersey with the name or identity of a black athlete? How are you speaking like a black American if you...
Oh, stay over there, dude. I don't need for you to love me. I don't like falsified love.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It's not love. If you really think about it, it's mockery. How do you wear a jersey with the name or identity of a black athlete? How are you speaking like a black American, if you will, bear with me, using the vernacular and steal the swag of black Americans? Literally, everything about you, what you're wearing, everything about you is literally black American. But at the same time, you're anti-black. You have a problem with your sister or whoever dating a black guy. See, I'm not the type of person that believes that we should force ourselves to date a different race of people to prove that we're not racist. I know that's bullshit, but that's not my point. My point is the fact that you, as a brown person, you don't have a problem with your sister or your daughter dating any race, but when it comes to the black race, now all of a sudden it's a problem. Every other race is perfectly fine, yet your entire swag, your entire vernacular is black American. Now, I find it sad as a non-black person from the outside looking in. I find it sad when I see black people find it like a compliment that we are speaking like you, dressing like you. It's not a compliment, dude. It's not a compliment.
Well, you know, black people crazy as hell, but he's talking about colonizer behavior. Well, it's colonizer behavior. That's what colonizers do.
But in addition to that, you're not wrong. This is the same conversation we've been having about everybody becomes team that especially if you come here to America, but prior to even in their own countries, they align with who they believe is the cultural powerhouse.
Exactly.
They align with the power.
Exactly.
And we struggle with it here with the alignment when groups come to America. Their partnership is with the dominant society. That ain't us. And until we find, and instead of all creating our internal power, we can't right now because we don't have the ability to work together, and too many of us would rather be in proximity to whiteness because we believe that that's the power. That's us. Imagine the groups that come here that are on visas, or the groups that are dependent on dodging the ICE police, the groups that are coming. They're going to be on their best behavior with white folk. They're going to be aligned with the culture of whiteness here. Where's the book? I got this book. I'm glad I brought this book up here. Jerome Fox, right? Addicted to Whiteness, right? That's everybody. That's not just them. That's everybody. But let's keep the focus on them since he's talking about that. Because that's happening in their culture, he's explaining to us why there could be no black and brown alliance. Right. Because right now, the light black and the light brown and the dark brown are at war with each other. And that war is centuries old. It's not coming to a resolution anytime soon. Until they can handle their internal battles, their internal crisis, they can't be aligned with us, especially when we represent the faction that they're at war with in their own culture.
But we have to be friends with everybody. Everybody, especially those who've gone through the struggle like we've gone through. Like I'm glad he said what he said, how he said, because if you're a black person and this was a slap in the face or a wake-up call, good. But we've been saying it because think about it. Within the last month, we've made a video about the relationship between black people and Asians, and how Asians sold us out for white people, and how the Hispanics have been selling us out for white people. Like PC just said, echoing what he said, white proximity is the goal. It's what everybody else who's not white is fighting for. These diaspora wars are a fight for white proximity within the African diaspora.
What's the young girl from South Africa?
Tyler,
right? Is that her name, Tyler?
Yeah, the little make me
yeah, right. She's currently
that song about getting wet, so you know.
Oh yeah, that was wow. You know I gotta do it.
I know I sung it wrong, but that song about getting wet, so I said make me wet.
you know I got it. Hold on, man.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So right now she's currently dealing with that in America. Like she's currently dealing with the fact that she wants to identify with the caste system, the racial caste system of post-apartheid South Africa right now, and impose her values on American black people. And so what she's dealing with right now is the fact of learning that American black people no matter how much, and it's about time something happened. Nobody's buying her music over here. She had to cancel her tour. I think at this time, her album sold like less than 4,000 copies.
So help me understand, because I was kind of confused about the fallout around that. Because from my understanding, like you're saying, they're bringing the South African caste system over here to America, right? So she identifies as colored.
Yeah.
And that will be equivalent to being mixed race in America. To be colored. And so she called me colored. And now is she saying I'm gonna call y'all colored or call me colored?
Well, basically, she, from what I gather, and I'm not as you know, because I don't really care about entertainment too much, but I did see it across my timeline a few times in the past, and she's had some very, very derogatory things to say about the American blacks in this country, and in regards to our, you know, struggles and things of that nature. And when somebody told her, well, being black, you know, I'm not one of y'all. I'm not black. I'm colored.
Right.
You know? And so that right there, you know, that right there was all she needed to become the outcast here.
But
you know,
so black people. So make your damn minds up, black Americans. Make your damn minds up now, because I'm confused now, because you trying to delineate on one end, and then you telling her that she ain't colored on the other end. I'm confused. What we doing? We delineating, or are we not?
I think it had more to do with the things she had to say about Black America than it did about her own personal, you know, Mariah Carey moment.
I'm being funny too, because this happened like right before the delineation like really kicked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
well, I do think, and again, I'm gonna be that guy. I do think the little Hispanic dude, damn, that was disrespectful.
Yeah. His name Ricardo.
Yeah, I do think he was pandering at the end.
Yeah. He was. I think he might have been pandering the whole time.
No, absolutely. But excuse me. What it's one of those things where, once again, right, if we're gonna come to the table, we gotta come to the table and be honest. And it's when we start talking about the way people dress, right? I think that's always a funny conversation, because we're not talking about the old zoot suits that became popular all over the place, right? That was clear. What's the distinction between young black males in the way they dress and young black Mexicans, or I'm sorry, young Mexicans in the way they dress? Like, is there something where you can say the Mexicans are clearly copying the swag of black people in terms of dress? Because if we just gonna say swag, I disagree. I've seen young Mexicans in the way they move and present. It is not black. It's not. And anybody that says it is somebody that ain't spent a lot of time interacting with young Mexicans.
Well, that's what I was thinking when he was saying. I was trying to think of, like, I don't know of any Mexicans specifically, and I'm in Tallahassee, Florida too, but I don't know of any Mexicans that I've seen. I was like, he had like a black dude. Yeah, no,
it's a whole different swag. So, like, I understand we wearing the same clothes,
in America.
It becomes like, are we really wearing the same clothes the same way? It don't look like it to me as a black person looking at it. But then this whole pride we have with, and maybe this is me being old, maybe I'm showing the way I think it might just be different. But I'd be like, I don't understand why everybody be excited to dress broke. Because cool. When they say you dressing like black people, they never be talking about businessmen with billions of dollars in a business meeting. They not talking about them. They talking about the dudes in the hood, the dudes on the lower end of the socioeconomic ladder, the dudes that ain't really got a whole lot going for them.
Pat, you know poverty is cool. Stop playing.
Well, and that's why I'm like, yo, so like, how is that a flex? You dress like the broke versions of me.
Man, we in our culture inspires the world, Pat. What you talking about? Everybody want to be like us.
The broke ones of us, even the rich ones of us want to be like the broke ones of us. So you're right.
Right. Our culture inspires the world.
But I just find that so interesting, because if a white dude came out, and yeah, I'm gonna be that guy, because hey, why not? Right? If a white dude came out and said, I'm sick and tired of all of these niggas dressing like me when they get a business, dressing like me when they in the boardroom, when they having a meeting. I'm sick and tired of them copying my rich white guy swag. They can't have it. They don't even do it like me.
Black people would lose their mind.
They would come unglued.
They do call it that. It's the but they don't call it white. It's the nerd look. It's like the what do they call it? The geek look, like the Urkel shit.
Yeah, but that's different though. That's different from the rich white guy swag. I get what you say.
No, I got you.
Like Wall Street white guy swag.
Yeah, like I get what you're saying because but that's derogatory, right? So I'm looking at
Well,
that
that whole skateboard culture, slacker culture.
well, now you got black people saying that's ours. We started that.
Yep.
You got black people claiming that.
You do. all the little offshoot white little cultural enclaves, black people like, yeah, we started that.
We started that. Like the only thing that we don't claim is rich, successful white guy swag. That's the only thing.
Well, we know we can't claim that. Right. That's clear. We know we can't claim that. So.
Right.
But we claim everything else. And I'm like, that is amazing to me. How we really like we live like an improper fraction. It's amazing to me. It's astonishing.
Hey man.
How everybody on the top is trying to get to the bottom.
Cheers.
So, anyways, his pandering made me think about that. I know he didn't directly say it, but the pandering made me think about that.
So y'all know I'm careful about the videos I choose and I'm thoughtful about it, but I'm always curious about the layers that we peel back in the videos. So I watched the videos multiple times, but then there's always some new that you gather from the video each time you watch it, and I'm always excited to see the layers that we peel back. And I knew we was gonna bust the black dude in the head. I already knew that. I already knew he was gonna get it from the first time I watched it. Because I did that when I was watching. I threw my hands. Oh, why the hell he come out talking like that, right? But then I also knew that there was gonna be some layers being peeled back from what Ricardo was saying because I've listened to the video enough, but still being open to have something new stuff jump out to me and learn something new about it. So, but that's why we do these breakdowns. But the ultimate thing about this video is for black people. Hey, stop trying to unite with people that don't like you. It's stupid. Stop it.
You know what? Stop did all this talking, and that's probably the one thing we really didn't dig on because it's so obvious. We say it all the time.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. Hey, man. But with that being said, FetLifeStation.com, you already know what it is. FetLifeStation.com, check it out. If you don't, then you already know you don't like black people.
If you don't,
right,
then you trying to make babies with Hispanics.
There you go. ThePacks.org. Check out the website. A lot of good information that you can use. OnTheShoulders1.com. Make sure you check it out. All the links to this support us are in the description. If you want to join this channel, be like PC and join the channel as a member. You can do that. That's in the description. You a real one, PC. And so let's keep this ball rolling. Let's keep doing what we do. And once again, I am being shadow banned. So if you are watching this, please make sure your notification bell is on. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're getting these. Make sure you hit that like button and share and getting them comments and let me know that, hey, I'm helping you. Y'all with me throughout the shadow banning because we finna bounce back and we finna move forward and we on our way to 100K. So with that being said, love yourselves. Don't play yourselves. We out.